And I think the biggest sort of lesson or failure is getting the right people in place, finding the right people to do the right jobs for you, because the music industry is filled with like a lot of untrustworthy sort of people who are chasing the wrong things at the wrong time. So you really have to learn to have that instinct about who is right to work with and who is not right to work with.
702.
The upside of failure.
Sometimes failure is the foundation of greatest success stories.
Holly Ray. Holly, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm so good. Yeah, this year's kicked off to an amazing start. It's everything I could hope for.
And I mean, did you ever imagine yourself venturing into television? Was that part of the plan?
Not at all. I literally started a show with my sister on Instagram.
Yes.
And it was her idea. She was like, we started like baking during lockdown because we were so bored.
Yes.
And she was like, let's make a YouTube channel because these kids are obsessed with like YouTube. And I was like, that's so much work.
Yeah.
Let's just put it on Instagram.
Yes.
And yeah, it just took off. And now it's, airing every week and people get to watch us cook together.
So it is happening Tuesdays at 4:30 on S3.
Yes.
And how are you finding the feedback so far?
It's been amazing. Viewership's grown by 500%
Wow.
from the first episode to the second episode. And
Yes.
obviously now just growing and growing, which is amazing. People are loving, I think, cooking along with their families. And a lot of people are sending us their recipes that they're making at home and their bakes, which has been really exciting for us. And Mimi's loving it.
Oh man, I'm so happy. So it seems that lockdown did create some gifts for many people.
Definitely, yeah. It was a very difficult time, I think, for all of us. And I think everyone just tried to find the sort of like silver lining in the clouds, and find something that they could hold on to. And I think this show for me and Mimi was that. It brought us, we're very close, but it brought us even closer together. And what started out as just something we were doing to sort of like suppress our boredom has turned into like such a big thing.
So when you were younger and growing up, what were your early thoughts and understandings of what failure is?
I think all children, when you go into like school, failure is not doing well in your test. It's all those small little things. I think so. My first understanding of what failure I think is that. Not coming first in a race that you ran, or not in the swimming gala, or whatever it is. I think those little bits of failure, I think, are how we begin to understand what that is. And then I think, I signed my first record deal at 14. So I then went into the music industry. Yeah.
So wait. So at the time when you're saying like failing on tests or not coming first or not making the team, was that something you viewed or felt was like the end of the world? Or were you in an environment where you were quite cushioned and you always knew it doesn't matter, this is a part of life?
I think my mom is the kind of, because I was raised by a single mom who was always encouraging me to do my best at everything. And if you don't, that's okay. You pick yourself up, you keep moving. So I think that was kind of my approach to any failure, is pick yourself up and keep moving all the time. And I mean, when I got diagnosed, because I'm a type 1 diabetic, when I was diagnosed with diabetes, that was a big blow for me. And I felt like I'd failed at like life.
Really?
Yeah, I think my mom also felt like she'd failed as a parent, or, something that she'd done wrong. And it was a big learning curve for us as a family. But if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have started making music. Because I couldn't really play sports. So music was my channel. So yeah, I think getting diagnosed with something like that and having to just continuously push through, you have good days, you have bad days, and just keep going because it's your life at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think, so my approach to failure and things not always going my way, I think is positive because of that.
So you were approached with an offer for a record deal while you were a teenager.
Yeah, I just started high school.
And how did that come about?
Someone from a record label just saw me performing at like a picnic or something. I can't even remember the event. And they were like, wow. But they wanted to sign me as like a writer first.
Yes.
So yeah, they signed me as on a publishing deal to write music for other people. But I was always just too scared. I was 14, 15. That was really scary for me to give other people my work.
Yes.
I also didn't understand.
Personal.
Yeah, I also didn't understand like how that worked. Then I signed a big record deal at 16. Yeah.
So what did that mean for your school?
I was in boarding school at the time, so I actually ended up coming home to go to like normal day school because I couldn't manage music and being in boarding school and diabetes and.
Yes.
So yeah, I went back to Durban, where I'm from, to do school there and to be able to like, because the thing with music is like it's late night studio sessions. You can't just be doing music on the weekend. It's all the time.
Yes.
So yeah, I had to come home to do that.
So at some point you had a scholarship to UCT.
Yes.
And what happened with that?
So I turned down my scholarship for the record deal that I got offered.
What was the scholarship for?
It was for political sciences. Yeah.
So, I mean, you were basically sitting with these two options.
Yeah.
One being a record deal, which maybe share with us what was the promise at the time to give us context as to how you weighed out. I'd rather do this than do this.
Yeah, I mean, it was a full 360 record deal with one of the biggest dance labels at the time in South Africa.
Yes.
They had the biggest dance artists. It was huge for me.
Yes.
They were offering me everything that I wanted. At 17, that's a big deal. And for me, I love academics. I was always academic at school. I did well with academics, but music was my first love. And I knew that I could still study and do part-time or go through UNISA or do something else if I chose my music. So yeah, I signed that record deal, turned down my scholarship, and it was not what I expected.
So the reason I'm smiling is because I was in the similar position, 17, turning down a scholarship for other academic things to pursue. But fortunately, I got taken care of.
Yeah.
And the things worked out.
They worked out, yeah.
So what ended up happening with you? So that you feel like that particular moment could be looked at the time as like, this was a fail.
I think I went to the record label and I just got shelved. Because that's how record labels work.
Please explain for the listeners.
Oh, what that is shelved.
Yes, so
I
explain
wasn't a priority
from the point of they're promising you the moon and the stars.
Yeah.
And in your mind, you're imagining, I'm going to release, I'm going to have music videos.
I'm going to be the biggest artist ever.
Yes.
Beyonce, here I come. Yeah, for sure. And then, you go to the label and it's like, well, right now we're focusing on other things.
Yes.
So you can go to studio and make music while we're busy.
Yes.
So you go to studio, you make music, you come back with the music. And like, we're still busy with other things. So can you just wait a little bit longer? Okay, cool, you wait.
Or like we have to release this other big artist, so we're just focusing on them for now.
Exactly. We're focusing on them. We don't have the capacity right now for your release. So can you just wait? And then, you wait. And then can you wait longer? So for about a year and a half, nearly 2 years, I just sat and did nothing. And I got really depressed in that time because I started doing NGO work to kind of keep myself busy. But it's really hard because you're just sitting waiting for someone else to say, okay, Sharp, it's your turn now.
Why? And again, just so that all of the listeners have context to what you're sharing. Why is the shelving thing such a bad thing? Because they might be thinking how you're doing nothing and earning money, but that's not necessarily the
you're
case.
You're not earning money. Yeah, that's the thing. You're not earning money.
I think because people imagine that, you got a record deal, they bought you a house, you got a car, you got a... So just share those elements that put really into context the reality of, yes, maybe there was studio time allocated for me to record and producers, but other than that, you actually need to be gigging.
Yeah.
You need your music on
the
air.
Label money for them to buy you those things. You know? Like you make money off of shows. You get shows from your music being out there. You make money off of radio when your music is on radio. So if you don't have music on radio, you're not making money off of that, and then you're obviously not getting any shows. So you're just sitting doing nothing.
So your music was produced, it was
produced,
done.
it was ready to go, it was done. Yeah.
But
then eventually I managed to get out of my deal. And I have never signed to a record label since then.
What does get out of your deal mean?
It means I had to pay a lot of money to get out of that situation. I had to save up for a while and then buy everything that I'd recorded during that time back so that I now own it. And
Which means your masters
my
are
masters,
yours.
yeah. Even like my brand to a certain extent, because some of the labels, when you have a 360, they say that they own parts of your brand that they've contributed to building. So you're buying back all of that. So I changed my name. I was just Holly. I became Holly Ray and all of that after that situation. And yeah, I started my own record label and have just released music independently since then. Won a song, got multi-platinum and as an independent.
We're going to pick up from there because I think there's some very big lessons from the whole situation that people can learn from, because the concept of being shelved is not just a music industry thing. It just happens in life where you feel shelved waiting for a phone call. And I'm curious to find out what made you decide to take action. So when we come back, 011-883-0702, any questions you've got for Holly Ray, and the WhatsApp line 0727021702. So you were saying about being shelved and having to save up to buy yourself out of that situation that obviously put you in a horrible position mental health wise, because you're like, how I could have been studying and then maybe done this later. What was it that drove you to say, okay, I need to buy myself out of this?
I think because I'd also taken a gap year. So I didn't go and like study somewhere else or anything like that. I was doing nothing. And I think I got to the point where I was like, this cannot be my life. I'm not studying. I'm not making music. I'm not doing anything that I'm passionate about. I cannot continue like this. And eventually I had a chat with my distributors at the time, and they were willing to put up some money to buy me out of the deal as well, or a possible distributor. And they were willing to put up money because, they benefit then financially as well. And, when I could kind of put those things in place and everything was kind of aligned, it was just like, this is right for me. I don't fit here. This is not the place for me. And I can do everything by myself.
Did you ever hear back from them after you did things yourself?
No. The label ended up closing down.
Well.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're in very different places.
So that did happen for a reason. So just in terms of, you now haven't gone through the process of being independent. What are some of the failures and bumps that you experienced along that road? Because the part of being independent sounds like so fancy. She got her own label, but it's really a lot of work.
It's so much work. I always say to people, it's like having a 9-to-5 versus being an entrepreneur. Like that's the best way I can explain it. Not that one person is less than the other. It's just that when you have a 9-to-5, you go in, there's a lot more security in having that. You know that you're going to earn your paycheck. You have to work hard for your boss. Great. When you're an entrepreneur, if you don't wake up and work, nothing happens, you know? So it's like that. It's a lot more work. And I think the biggest sort of lesson or failure is getting the right people in place, finding the right people to do the right jobs for you, because the music industry is filled with a lot of untrustworthy sort of people who are chasing the wrong things at the wrong time. So you really have to learn to have that instinct about who is right to work with and who is not right to work with. And I learned a lot of lessons about that owning my own label.
And at some point you did consider quitting music.
Oh, yes. So just before Deeper.
Yes.
I'd finished my degree. I have a degree in a lot of things because I just wanted to study everything. Yes. I have a degree in communications, media, journalism, and psychology. And I'd finished my degree and things just weren't doing what I wanted. I wasn't where I thought I'd be at that time. I was releasing music, it was doing okay, but nothing was ever taking off. I was also kind of stuck in the Durban scene. Durban's very small.
Yes.
It's very controlled by a lot of gatekeepers. And I just thought to myself, I don't think I want to do this anymore.
Yes.
I had signed up to go work for an NGO in Kenya.
Yes.
And I was doing my honors at that time. I was doing my honors in intercultural communications and health studies. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go work for an NGO in Kenya, put my studies to use and do good, because that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'd signed up, I was ready to go. And then I recorded Deeper, one night in studio, and everyone was like, this song is amazing, you need to release it. And I was like, okay, cool, this is my last shot at music. I'm going to release this song. If it doesn't take off, that's my sign that I need to
go and
quit music. And and then, I mean, Deeper took off, and here we are now. I didn't go to Kenya, obviously. I stayed in South Africa, finished my degree, and worked and performed and went all over the place at the same time.
All right, we've got a special caller for you. You can put your headphones on. 011 883 0702. Hello, welcome to 702 Afternoons. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you, Lebu?
I am good. Holly is listening. Go ahead.
Hi, Holes.
Is that my Gran? Oh my gosh, that's my Gran! I was like, I know this voice. Hi, Gran.
Hi, love. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay. Well, we can go on saying I'm good. How are you?
What do you want to say about this amazing granddaughter of yours?
Well, she is absolutely amazing because she just never gives up. She just keeps trucking. And that's a success story of her life. And she knows that if you have a dream, you have to wake up every morning and have the picture of the end result in your head. And I know that she's done that because she's picked herself up and dusted herself off a couple of times, but she doesn't understand the meaning of the word failure.
You know you have your granddaughter in tears right now.
I'm crying here.
Failure.
On radio.
Well, they can't see.
At least they can't see me ugly cry.
They will see soon. We are recording the visuals. And I think that's so beautiful, Margaret, that you're sharing that, because people really show up and see the success, and they don't see the hard years of speed bumps and potholes along the way. So sometimes it looks like an overnight success, where really it took
years of keeping the dream going, having the goal. People without goals, 9 to 5 doesn't give you a goal. It gives you some money in your pocket at the end of the month. But and there's nothing wrong with that. But having a dream is really, being solo and doing what you want is really hard work. And I admire Holly every day because, she has had quite a lot to face in her life. Her diabetes has also been in the way, but she still hasn't let that get in the way. Because it would have been very easy to roll over and, give up. But she doesn't suffer from give-up-itis. But then
my Gran always says to me, you're not allowed to suffer from give-up-itis all the time.
I love that. Margaret,
but we as a family don't give up. So,
Thank you so much for joining us in this conversation. You really are making me miss my own grandmother, so I can understand how emotional. Yeah,
I miss my Gran a lot. My Gran raised me with my mom, so I'm very close with my Gran.
You've got a single dropping.
I do. Stop crying, Holly. Stop crying. You've got new music dropping.
Tell us about the new music as an independent artist.
Yes. So I've dropped a new single today. It's called Slow Down. It's featuring Blackie. Yeah, it's an amazing collaboration. I took a bit of a hiatus from music for about 2 years. Focused on the show with my sister, focused on my health. Just took sort of like COVID as an opportunity to regroup and focus on what is it that Holly wants now. I have a SAMA, I've achieved multi-platinum status. Like, what do I want next? What is the bigger picture for me? And coming back with new music, a fresh sound, and working with artists that I've always admired and I think are really cool, like Blackie. Yeah.
I am so excited for you. Congratulations just for having achieved everything you have. And I think it's important, the story you share, your health having all the challenges, but you did not suffer give-up-itis.
I didn't
You still went and got
give-up-itis.
your qualifications. They shelved you, girl, but they didn't know they were just planting a seed to blossom and bloom. Slow Down featuring Blackie. Listen out for it today. Holly Ray, Thank you.
Thank you for having
and
me.
Thank you.
702.
The upside of failure.
Sometimes failure is the foundation of greatest success stories.